Welcome to For the Love of Licking County, a podcast where we bring you everything on leadership, entrepreneurship, and community impact. Presented by the Licking County Chamber of Commerce. I am your host, Jamie Wright of Wright Dauble Insurance, and we are coming to you from right here in Newark, Ohio.
Whether you're a job seeker or a business with staffing needs, Ohio Means Jobs Licking County is here for you. Our center is fully equipped and expertly staffed to help you with your employment and workforce needs. Stop in and see us at 998 East Main Street in Newark or call us at 740-670-8700.
Welcome to For the Love of Licking County. I'm your host, Jamie Wright of Wright Dauble Insurance. And if you are joining us for the first time today, welcome. And if you're coming back, we're super happy that you're here again. Now, today is a very special show for me. So I do have with me the beautiful and inspiring Kate Hannam-Rose.
Jamie, thanks.
Thanks for being here,
Wow,
girlfriend.
what an intro. Come here every morning to feel love like that.
See, and I need you to come every morning to lift me up. But I'm super happy that you're here because we're gal pals. Mm-hmm. But I've also heard you speak a couple different times. The first time I heard you speak was the first time that we've met. And that was, in 2018? Was that the first time? 2018?
18.
Yeah.
I think it was 18 or 19.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then recently you were the ending keynote speaker at the Women's Leadership Network conference, which was awesome. Mm-hmm. And there you spoke a lot about the power of positivity, which we're going to get into today to follow up to that. But today's, like I said, special because this is more of a motivational show because we have the opportunity to get a little personal, right?
Let's do it.
Okay, let's do it, girl. So we were talking a little bit before the show. We kind of connected and said, where do we want this to go? What do we want this to be? And we decided we're just going to leave it open. We're going to leave it free. But I did say, since it's a follow-up to the Women's Leadership Network conference, how do we kind of attract a male audience? And you got emotional about that.
Oh,
yeah.
I already get choked up just thinking about it.
I got the tissues.
Oh, they're hidden.
I brought the tissues this time. And you talked about your husband, Adam. Mm-hmm. And then we just decided, this show is for everybody, especially people that are in a support role.
Yes.
Spouses. I mean, everybody's in a support role at some point in their life. So this show is really for everybody, and it's meant to inspire people. And so I really do want everybody to hear your story, and I want to leave the bulk of the show for that.
Okay.
It's profound. It's important that everybody hears it. But first, and this is just me personally, anytime that I listen to a motivational speaker, but listening to you speak before, I have an opportunity to let everybody know, I want you to shift your mindset, okay? I want you to, if you're watching, I want you, and let's say that you're in this super vulnerable place in life and your mind is really open right now. I want you to start at a place of acceptance. Accepting that our lives and our thoughts are oftentimes very messy. Accepting that, if you think about it in terms of tangible things, our room, our houses, our laundry, it's oftentimes a mess and we have to do that work to clean it up. Mm-hmm. And realizing the value of the mess, because the mess is the journey, right? And it's the answer, I think, and which kind of leads us to how powerful your story is and what you went through to get to the perspective of this power of positivity piece that you put together.
That's a very eloquent way to put it, Jamie.
Oh, yay. See, I was listening.
Yes. I'm like, look at you. You do.
Yeah.
You do listen to me.
Yeah. So I do want to we'll circle back to the activity worksheet at the very end.
Oh, yeah.
I want to get there too because I want people to have something to take away. Mm-hmm. But really, let's just kind of dig into what happened to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So really, for people who might not know me or anything, I am born and raised in Newark, Ohio. So I'm a Licking County girl 100% of the way. Went away for college and then came back because there's a boy that I fell in love with, who you mentioned earlier. But whenever I speak at events, I always want to make sure people are very clear in the fact that I'm not a doctor. Mm-hmm. I'm not a licensed therapist of any sort. I never went to school for psychology. Everything that I speak about around the power of positivity and the mindset of, shifting to positivity comes from my life experience. So that's, just want to make sure that's out there.
Well, I definitely think you're qualified to speak to this.
So let's, start from the beginning. I, just a typical girl, Newark, Ohio, Newark Wildcat, athlete, went away to college, played sports in college, went to college, had great time, graduated with my degree, and then moved on, met my husband, came here to Newark. I have a son, Austin. He was going to be a freshman. But it wasn't easy getting there. So actually Austin was very easy, but I had a lot of infertility issues along the way. And that hit me. And that stage of my life, I was not positive. So when I went through all of that, trying for another child, I felt beat down, and the negative thoughts, went in my head, like, what am I doing wrong? It's my fault. I can't give my son a sibling. I can't give my husband another child. I can't have, it's all me, my fault. So I would say there was a good part of my life from, 2011 to 2017, where I just felt so negative.
Yeah.
And I look back in that, and I don't think anyone saw me as negative, but my mindset was negative. So if anything happened, whether it be to me personally or to someone, I always had something to say about it, to make an excuse about it, or it would just start my day off on the wrong foot. Because of anything. It could be just from spilling my coffee in the morning. My mindset was just crap, to say the least. I finally got to a place in the spring of 2018, and I will never forget it. We were on a family vacation in the Dominican Republic, all inclusive. It was raining. You know how it rains down there. In the morning, it's hot though. So we're sitting outside in the rain, and I just looked at my husband and my son. I'm like, this is it. We're the Rose party of 3. This is how it's supposed to be. And I was content. It was almost like this huge weight came off my shoulder where I was like, we're good. This is how and who we're supposed to be. 3 weeks later, my breast swelled up. I'm not kidding you when I say I was in a place of let's go. I was happy. I was ready. I was content. I knew that the next step, the next day was going to be the way that it was supposed to be. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, my right breast swelled up like a watermelon, out of nowhere. So of course, I called my OBGYN, who I happen to be very close to because of all of the personal experiences that I've had in the years past. She gets me in. She's like, that looks awkward. So why don't you go get a mammogram, ultrasound, see what's going on.
Now, how old were you at the time?
I was 38.
Okay.
38. So, I had never gotten a mammogram
Right.
or anything like that. And there's no history or anything of breast cancer in my family. So the fact that my breast swelled up out of nowhere, really, to be completely honest with you, Jamie, I thought I had an old bra on with a wire sticking out that
Right.
might have picked
Right.
we've all been there, girls, okay? So something like that, maybe an infection. And that's actually what the ultrasound tech, the mammogram tech also came back with. We don't see anything. You have an infection. Let's get you on some antibiotics. That was a Monday. Come Wednesday, the swelling still hadn't went down. And so I was like, this just isn't right. Let me call my OBGYN again. She then calls me right in to who now is my best friend, Dr. Slam.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's wonderful. But she takes a biopsy of my breast, and a couple of days later, she gave me the call and said, you have breast cancer. So to go from a state of, I'm good, this is how we are, we're the Rose family party of 3, to 3 weeks later finding out that I have breast cancer, and that the cancer was rather aggressive, and that I had to start chemo in a week. So imagine, if you will, being in a state of negativity for such a long time, finally being content with how it's supposed to be and ready to take that next step, to then really just getting a huge sledgehammer right on top of you saying that you had breast cancer at the age of 38, stage 3, aggressive form, you got to start chemo. It's going to last all summer long. Then you're going to have a surgery. If the cancer didn't spread, then of course, you can stop that. Then you're going to have a surgery again, and then you're going to have radiation. Then you're going to have another surgery. I mean, it was like never ending.
Right.
That's when my mindset changed back to like, what's happening? Why is this happening to me? Now, I'm not going to lie. Like, I totally went into that state of anger, madness, crying, scared, because I had no idea. The unknown is extremely scary. But then I looked at my son and I looked at my husband and I was like, that's why I'm here for you guys. So there's no reason for me to be in a state of negativity and fear when I have these amazing doctors by my side fighting for me. I'll fight for them. So as easy as it may seem to say, it truly does start with a mindset. And you're allowed to feel that negativity, that anger, that just being mad at the world. But what's it going to get you the next day? So from there, I just shifted, I snapped, and I was like, nope, I'm going to let the doctors take care of it. And I am just going to enjoy every moment. And I'm going to let every day happen and move on to the next day. Because when you move on to tomorrow, what can you do about yesterday? So I had chemo right away, once every 3 weeks for, it feels like forever. This was back in 2018, from May to August. And I was surrounded by so much love and positivity that it helped my mindset also be positive. That's when I realized the importance of surrounding yourself with like people. If you surround yourself with people who are positive, then you're going to be positive. And that's extremely important in many of the speeches that when I talked about people and changing their mindset. So that's when I realized the importance of your circle. After chemo, I went in and had a mastectomy on my right side. And they came back a couple days later and they were like, there's no sign of cancer. Like, you beat this, Kate. But I didn't beat it. My friends and family helped me beat it. I didn't do it alone. From there, I then went on to a grueling radiation treatment. Personally, that was worse than the chemo. And then I had about a year break before doing reconstruction and things like that. I have some side effects that I have to deal with. But it has been 3 years and I'm cancer-free.
Yay. Woohoo!
Yeah. And I will say that within those 3 years, being positive and knowing that you have a group around you, a circle of people around you who are also positive, helps you with that mindset. So in the past 3 years, I've also had a lot that has happened to me. I was furloughed during COVID. Well, first of all, we had a pandemic.
Right.
Who didn't go through negativity during a pandemic? I was furloughed for a few months. And I thought, what? Now, what am I going to do now? I mean, I love my career, I love my job. But I realized that was a time where I felt good. It was the first summer, Jamie, the summer of 2020. While everyone was freaking out, making sure they weren't getting sick, I was happy I wasn't sick.
Right.
So it was the first summer that I truly, even though we didn't have a lot to do because a lot of things were shut down, it was perfect because I got that quiet time, feeling good.
Yeah.
Went back to work, and about 6 months later, I lost my job. And to think about everything that I've been through, I couldn't believe it. I was like, I've overcome so much, and now I don't have a job when it's hard to find one right now. But I thank the good Lord. I thank my friends that I have set my mind to think in the way of, this is okay. There's something else for me there. So sure, I got mad when I found out I lost my job. I think I even told you that, it was like girl time in the driveway, patio, whatever. We're going to have a few glasses of wine.
That's right.
I'm going to cry it out. I'm going to figure it out. You know, I went through the anger, the whole, you know, roller coaster again. But I was like, wait a minute. I have been through so much. Why am I getting angry about a job when I know that I'm very well talented and someone else just needs my talent to help them? So
let's just pause there for 1 second.
Okay.
Because that's huge. That's that self-recognition piece, that extreme ownership piece that we talk about, and recognizing, you know, I'm gifted and I'm talented and my talents belong somewhere else. Do you know how hard it is for people to get there? I mean, that's a lot of self-recognition.
It is.
A lot of self-doubt.
It is. And it's hard work. And it's not one that comes naturally. It has not for me at all. And so, you know, I guess now I've shared with you my story. So I think throughout that time frame to help me get there, it was a lot of reflection. It was a lot of like personal work with me to make sure that I knew that I was worthy, that I was who I was supposed to be. I have a purpose and I am who I am. And there is no one else like me. So own it. And everything and every obstacle that might come my way, how am I going to use that to either better the opportunity or maybe help someone else? And that's exactly what I've done now. So my journey, my story, everything that's happened, I feel is my duty to help others overcome obstacles that they may face.
Yeah. And did I cut you off though? Were you still going on? Because I have some questions for you, but
Just feel like we're talking, so I don't even notice if you did cut me off. Just ask it.
all over.
I know.
I want to go back to in the beginning when you had that moment. And this is really kind of what gets me is so oftentimes we doubt ourselves. I mean, it's easy to doubt ourselves. But you talked about how in the beginning you were able to look at Adam and your son and you were like, hey, I'm here for them. From now on, I'm going to change my mindset. I'm going to be a different person. Not all the time. And you're really honest about that too. You can't be that all the time. Sometimes you have to take a step back. But in the beginning, when you had those moments, in retrospect for you, were you like, this was a God moment? Like this, how did that play into this? Because I think it's easier for people to associate, like they have this feeling and then something makes it tangible for them to understand. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's 100% what it was and what it is.
Right.
I feel that everything that has been served to me, I do wholeheartedly believe that anything that is served to anyone is for a purpose and a reason. And the way that you can overcome that and the way that you can deal with it, the way that you can battle that is to stop and think, okay, what is this? What are the possibilities with it? And how can I make it for the better? So sure. And I thought there was a time where I was going to help women overcome the struggles of not being able to birth a child. For the longest time, that specific thing. I thought for the longest time, I'm being served up. The fact that I have, I can't have another child. I'm having a hard time with it because I need to go help other women who can't have a child. I look back at that. No.
Yeah.
That's not what it is.
Right.
I need to help others realize what they do have and what they can do with that and what other possibilities there may be. For me, there was such a long time where, I had Austin. Austin was so easy and I wanted more.
Right.
I took it so selfishly, if you will. I wanted it, but what was I supposed to have? And I think that he is what I'm supposed to have. And now I'm supposed to then, share my gift of strength and resilience and making sure that you do it in a positive and graceful way because there's no reason to be negative about things. And same thing with cancer. I'm not going to go speak to you about the importance of checking your boobies, and, because you know that.
Yeah.
But I can speak to you about how to overcome obstacles, whether it may be cancer, whether it may be infertility, losing your job, your car breaking down, just being in a crappy mood.
Yeah.
Why are you being served that up, and how can you make it for the better?
I think that the hardest part of that is the patience piece.
Oh my gosh. You need a whole drawer of patience panties.
Oh, yeah. Patience panties. Oh, I love it.
I mean,
I'm writing
seriously,
that down.
pull up your patience. I mean, I say that when I speak to other women. When men are in the room, I don't. So sorry. Hope you got a little giggle out of that one. But, you need it.
Mhm.
And it's hard. But that's where the self-work comes in.
Yes. That's the opportunity.
Yes.
I always say don't pray for patience,
No.
but there's a lot of opportunity
Mhm.
in that moment.
Yeah.
So tell us about how difficult the shift was for you in the beginning to go from, selfish and grouchy, if you will, to woe is me, to I'm going to take this and roll with it and make it the most. I mean, that had to be a difficult shift. That had to take a lot of work. Was there a moment in that for you where it clicked?
Yeah, actually. Okay, so there's many moments because I am human and I am a woman, and you just don't become this positive person all the time. So there have been many moments, and I in my career, I had the privilege and the honor and the amazing opportunity to go to many destinations for trips.
Oh, okay.
With other women.
Mm-hmm.
So I was surrounded by a lot of women, and we were at some all-inclusive resort sitting in a pool. And I had a girl in the pool look down, and I have a tattoo on my wrist. This is where I become very vulnerable because not a lot of people know about this tattoo. So people who are watching are probably like, oh, that's what that means. I have a heart and 3 stars. And the girl looked down and she said, what's this tattoo stand for? And I was like, well, the heart is my son here. And the 3 stars are my kids up in heaven. And she just kind of looked at me and she was like, oh. And she made a comment that I'm not going to say it verbatim because I have it written down, but it was basically like, was Austin your choice or God's choice? And without, but it's like,
Give me goosebumps.
Was he your choice or God's choice? That's when I was like, that's when it hit me that I was like, oh, wow. Whose choice is it? Is it my destiny to have more? Is it my purpose to have more? That's a moment where I was like, okay, mindset shift.
Yeah.
And that stuck with me for the longest
Still
time.
does.
Absolutely. That, okay, this is how it's supposed to be. I get it. So that kind of helped me with my mindset with thinking when I was in that hole, if you will, of not feeling full. Because I just had this dream. No one will believe it because I don't have my patience panties on all the time. But I used to have this dream of having all these kids. And because it was something that I wasn't able to live out because I thought that's what I was supposed to be doing type of thing. So when she said that to me, that stuck out and helped me with my mindset. But doing it throughout the time, there were many times where I just would I had a long commute and I just would be so grouchy and grumpy and my whole day was crappy. And then I would bring it home and my husband would be like, what is up with you? Mm-hmm. And just calling it out, just making it known to me, I would just sit and I would reflect and think, yeah, there's nothing wrong. It's just me.
Yeah. How important is it really?
Really? Mm-hmm. It's just me. So there were many obstacles in which it all came down to my attitude and my mindset and not letting little things bother me and just knowing that you don't take it out on other people. You don't take it out on yourself. Mm-hmm. You just be the best version of you and do the best that you can with any type of, hiccup that might come up.
Yeah. So I say this often, and I use this as a personal philosophy, but I'd love to hear your take on this. When I am having a bad day or somebody says to me, I'm just having a bad day, and they roll out with the punches, I often say, just have a bad day. Mm-hmm. Just have a bad day, let it go. You have a bad day. Don't try to fight it. It makes it worse when you fight it. I'm always interested in people's philosophy on that trail of thought because I think it works for me, but I don't know how it works for other people. What do you think about
I
that?
absolutely agree with you.
Okay.
You are allowed to have a bad day.
Yeah.
If you don't, then I feel like then you bottle up those emotions and you become fake. I mean, that no one wants to be fake. You want to be
Right.
authentic. You absolutely can have a bad day. Something that I like to think is that you want to make yesterday jealous of tomorrow. So you want to make today awesome. So you want to make yesterday jealous of tomorrow, meaning go ahead and have your bad day.
Yeah.
Because tomorrow is going to be so awesome that yesterday is going to be so mad they didn't get to have that experience.
I like that.
And because like you want to wake up and then you want to start over.
Mm-hmm.
You can't go back and change anything. You could have a little pity party, but then move on. But you also learn like from your mistake, or you learn from that bad day. Why was it bad for you?
Sure.
It could be as small as something you just like feel grumpy. And maybe you just needed to wake up and take a little 5-minute walk to like clear your mind and things. But like I really do believe, sure, have that bad day, but reflect. And when I say reflect, I don't mean looking in the mirror and talking to yourself. You can do that, but just sit in a quiet space, whether it just be with the headphones on in the corner, or you do go on a walk, or you go in the basement and you turn on Netflix and you're by yourself. I do that a lot.
Yeah.
And just think, okay, that's why I felt that way. So I want to make sure next time that happens, I want to change my way of thinking. Or tomorrow I'm going to do this. Yes, you need to have your bad days. You need to be human. You need to let your emotions out.
Yeah, the whole mess part. Yep. So, and I really love the piece, the thought process piece, and this is where we're going to kind of give some people some tools if you're ready for that. But I did, have you heard of Dr. Caroline Leaf?
I don't think so.
Okay. She is a communication pathologist and cognitive neuroscientist.
Ooh,
so she is the doctor, the clinician. But she has a ton of books on this topic. But she asked the question, what is a thought? I thought that was so provoking. What is a thought? And the answer is a consequence of thinking. And it was like, wow, okay, give me some more. So there was a lot that she had said that I was reading into, but the bulk of it all, and I think this is where you just left off. And this, you got this to your own recognizance, this trail of thought. And she is a cognitive neuroscientist who researches this. So
I am not.
How to overcome toxic thoughts. And the answer, this is a very short version, managing our mind, self-regulation, and noticing your reaction to your patterns, and then you're able to identify those toxic thoughts, and then you can change them. So that's kind of the toolbox that you were talking to, and I was asking about how did you shift? Well, it was all based on your personal experience. You had to get there to be able to change your mindset, and I think what we're giving people the opportunity is as easy as just making a decision, right?
Yeah.
Not having to go through the muck necessarily, but just making a decision to get there and to identify those patterns. And I think that that's really important, just to have something tangible for people to identify with. I'm assuming that you would totally agree with that.
Well, absolutely. Yeah. And I have said that, like, your mind, I envision a garden. Like, your mind is a garden, and you either have weeds or you have a beautiful garden of flowers, and you want to pluck and pull those weeds. And those weeds can be your thoughts, or the weeds could be people in your life, and they're toxic to your part. So, and then when you have those flowers, and you have the flowers in your mind, and you need to make sure you take care of them. And the only way that you can do that is by, of course, pruning when needed. There are times that things might happen, and you might get, some pests in your garden that you need to take care of. And you need to be willing to do that. So whether that be a thought or a person, it can be hard, but you can do it.
Yeah.
You want to make sure your garden is beautiful.
Oh, that's so cool, because she actually talks about plants. She'll have like a plant, and it'll be like, this is beautiful. And then she'll have like a toxic plant, and it's really yucky.
What is her title? Maybe I need to change mine.
I know. You should look
It's
into it.
fancy.
But that brings us to the activities worksheet that you were able to provide to the conference. And so there's a piece in here about gardening, but I just wanted to show everybody too. I know you probably can't see this. And we'll put the chamber's email. So if anybody wants a copy of this, please let us know. We'll get it off to you if you weren't able to make the conference. But, you have stumbling blocks and your stepping stones. So again, this is that tangible piece that Kate is giving to everybody. This is kind of like your own personal workshop. If you're ready to dig in and you're in that vulnerable place where you're ready to make some changes, this is a great start. What gifts are you already blessed to have in your life? Not oftentimes we sit down and think about those things. That's extremely important because you're giving yourself a pep talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I came up with this, it's really what I did to get to that state of, this is what I have. This is what I am blessed with. This is what I want to take to basically be the best version of me for that reason. And it's hard. Sometimes it's hard to feel, to really think about all the things that are around you that you take for granted, but you truly are so happy and blessed to have. I mean, it can not be big things like your house and your car and your family. I mean, it is just simple things. Like, I am so blessed to be able to have the ability to, take a walk in between meetings. I mean,
That's a big one.
Anything can help with that just shift of your mindset.
I am blessed that we have an amazing farmer's market here and I can go get Ohio City pasta.
Little thing. I mean, it could be anything.
It can be anything. And then we move on to let positivity find you. Write down 4 positive statements about yourself. How oftentimes do you talk positively about yourself? Never. Unless you're seeking validation from somebody else.
Right.
It's hard.
It is hard. And so just doing that type of thing. And I don't feel like this exercise is one for you to be shouting from the rooftops to other people because you don't want to be. It's helping you in your mindset. And that's where, like, when I lost my job back in February, I am so grateful that I was able to figure out how to shift my mindset to have this exercise ready. And because I knew, like, I am good. I am worthy. It is not my fault that I lost my job. I have the ability to give someone else my skills.
I love that. Exercise. This is just like exercise.
Yes.
You got to do it all the time, right? Or at least 3 days a week.
Yeah.
2 to 3.
You say that. And I also, there's something that I say, like, you can gain 20 pounds over a course of 12 months. Or maybe 1 month in my case. You know what I mean?
Right.
You can gain 20 pounds. You're not going to lose 20 pounds overnight.
Right.
So your mindset and being positive about yourself, it takes time.
Right.
And you have to practice it just like exercise.
Which is great too. Women that are postpartum, for myself personally, that was a huge part of my life. And I had people that had to remind me, like, hey, it took you 9 months to make a baby, to create a baby. It's going to take you some time to get back. It's a whole identity piece. And I think that this is really important to give people some identity pieces. That's the hardest part in a lot of this.
Oh, yeah.
Is the identity piece. I talk about that a lot. Challenge your inner critic. So your inner critic thoughts and then your truthful thoughts. Now for me, this was the hardest part.
Really?
Yeah. I have a lot of inner critic thoughts, but my truthful thoughts, I'm like, whoo wee. I think that was hard just because sometimes you need people to help you with those truthful thoughts. Like, is this true? Do you think this is true about me? Or am I just like making this up?
And that's why it's so important to make sure that you have the like-minded people around you. That's where that positive influence of people around you can help you with your inner critic thoughts that might come across, because it is hard to personally do that. But to make sure that you don't have weeds around you, you have those beautiful flowers in your life that can make sure that they reinforce that to you.
And I want to say this because I think it's important. Oftentimes when people come into our lives, and let's say that they end up being a weed, okay, they don't live there forever. They come into our life for a season and they end up being plucked. It is okay for you to grow and change because that's what we're supposed to do.
Yes,
it just means that they're seeds for a different garden.
Yes.
I think that's really important for people to get. It's hard for us to leave friendships and relationships behind that don't serve us, because there's so much guilt in doing that. But I just want people to understand that that's okay, because we're supposed to grow and change. We don't oftentimes grow and change with all the same people in our lives.
No.
Or we change and then we come back and realize that there's still another place in the garden.
Yes. And everyone comes into your life at that given moment for a reason.
Yes.
And a lot of times I do get asked the question of, well, how do you get rid of these weeds? How do you pluck those toxic people out of your life?
It's a great question.
You know, and it's so hard, but it really just comes down to you being strong in yourself and just distancing yourself slowly but surely. Or if you're close enough with that person, you can call them out on it, because it's possible that person doesn't even know. I do have a friend, a very dear friend of mine, who just had no idea how toxic she was being because she was in a negative place in her life.
Right.
I do believe that because I shared that with her, I mean, it was like and it was hard, but I had to tell her, like, girl, I can't be around you, because every time I say something, it's always something negative, or if something's going on with you, it's something negative. You're not seeing the bright side of things that are happening or why that's happening. So it's really either, if you're comfortable enough to say it to the person, you could change them and you could help them, or you just need to distance yourself, and slowly but gradually that weed will get smaller and go away.
Yep. And I think, too, when you have those conversations with people, sometimes they're often like, oh, I didn't know. Or if you have to apologize. Yeah. That's hard.
Oh,
like, listen, I'm sorry.
Yes.
But, I took so much energy from you, and I'm sorry, and I just don't think that this is going to work out, or whatever the case might be. That might be a little too harsh. But, I think it's okay for people to understand that, because we've given them an opportunity to learn something from us, right?
Yes.
So draw your garden. This is an actual, if you are a visual person, you are literally drawing your garden, which could be anything that you want it to be. So I think this was really fun too, because you can make it as colorful or as matchy-matchy or as geometric as you wanted it to be, because it actually gives people an opportunity. So when you meditate, you can close your eyes and this is where you go. So this was important too. I don't think that this is just funny coloring.
No.
This was a really important piece.
It is like more of that reflective, like thoughtful process.
Just good to have a visual.
Like, think of all the people in your life right now and just close your eyes and think, like, are they weeds? Are they flowers? Are they little buds becoming flowers? And then, but what can you do to nurture your garden? So it's not just a matter of plucking and keeping. You have to maintain that.
Yes.
In order for it to stay beautiful, positive.
Yeah.
You have to maintain it. It's all in your mindset.
Yep. I love that. So before we close off, I do want to give just a little bit of time to the support role piece. I want to talk about Adam.
Yeah.
And how instrumental, obviously he's one of your people.
Yeah.
That's in your worksheet and in your garden. But talk to us about how important that support roles really are for people going through something like this.
Yeah. So I think more specifically, it's more of the male gender, right?
Okay.
So for me, I have been speaking at many events around the power of positivity and tying it back to my life journey, and it's really attractive to women. But there's a huge group of, of men who see their wives, or fathers who see their daughter. I really am thinking, because a lot of guys think, flowers, garden, positivity and stuff. But they need that mindset too, to support whomever they love. It's possible there's a male figure in your life who needs to make sure he is a flower for you. So he's positive for you. So my husband, he doesn't get the credit that he deserves. And he is a rock. And he is the most, people that know him know, oh, he is just this guy that comes in, and I always tell this story. When we first moved to our neighborhood years ago, this boy is born or raised, and totally out of in college, whatever. And when he was a little fella, he was so scared of my husband. Hey, how you doing? So scared, because it just comes across that way, a big, hard guy, but he is the softest teddy bear there is. And
now does he want people to know that?
No, probably not. Especially if there's students in his school. But like he cares. He genuinely cares. That's why he is a great principal. You know, that's why he is good at what he does. But like, if it was not for him making sure that my mind was in a place of positivity and just optimism, not being pessimistic, like making sure like you got this, we got this, you're not alone. There's this like just this support role that I don't think gets the credit it deserves. And I have this vision, and there will be someday where the two of us can be together and share my version of how things are going and what I was thinking, and then his version, because I think there are things that he had to overcome, that he had to deal with, that he hid from me, he hid from others, or he talked, of course, to his closest friends about it. But there's always things when you're dealing with something such as cancer, such as infertility, you know, things that are big like that, that you are dealing with that impact so many other people, that huge support role is also dealing with other things.
Right.
So how are they keeping that positive mindset? How are they making sure that they're showing up for you to make sure your garden is beautiful?
Well, because they're the ones watering the garden at 6 p.m. at night, you know? They're making sure that everything's still going to...
He just, yes. And so... Yes, Adam Rose, I love you. Thank you very much. And you are hardcore, but you're still a teddy bear.
We just wanted to give you that shout.
But yeah, he amazing. So someday, you know, I would love that. You know, it's almost like you think of Parenthood, like, or like the show, like just things that like you get both sides of the version. I mean, it should be comical, it should be a relief, it's real, it's raw, but there's a lot of elements that males also have to realize that this stuff that I talk to in women's conferences, it's also for them. And so when I make the joke about the green smoke coming in, I have friends that remember that. My guy friends remember when I say green smoke, it's that toxic thing that comes, weeds. And I still have friends that say, oh, I had green smoke monster today. You know, they know because it's still like they recognize it. So it's just acknowledging when you have that negative feeling, how to turn it into positive.
Yeah, super important. So I just want to leave with this thought today. Again, Dr. Caroline Leaf says you can go 3 weeks without food. You can go 3 days without water, but you cannot go 3 seconds without having a thought. So try your best to make it a positive one.
Absolutely.
Not all the time, but
you can have your bad days.
We're gonna figure out how to flip that switch. Thank you so much.
Oh my goodness. I hope that I got, I hope that I helped. There's so much that we could talk about, but I really think that this was a great opportunity to help others, you know, just change mindset a little bit.
I'm so happy that you are so comfortable being vulnerable and talking about your story and sharing it. I think it's truly impactful to other people.
Thank you.
I appreciate you.
Thank you. I hope it helps others.
Yep. So be sure to join us next month. I am super pumped because it is Restaurant Week. And we're going to do 4 shows, not 8, 4 shows. And we're all going to be taste testing food and brews.
Oh,
I know, right? I know we get to eat food.
Did you need positive thinking in that?
I know. I'm super excited about it.
Here.
We're going to have some really awesome guests on. We just want to get you guys all pumped up for Restaurant Week. It's going to be awesome. It's one of the biggest weeks here, and I truly adore it. So be sure to join us. We're going to be posting those shows, like I said, 4 times the week before Restaurant Week. So we'll be sure to keep you guys tuned into that too. And again, we'll be sure to connect everybody with you if they want.
Yeah, there's so much more than what we just talked about. So if anyone ever, I'm totally reach out.
Yeah, perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Until next time, you guys, stay safe.